with the second part of this evening's activities. So welcome back. This is Economics 120, Microeconomics, and so Wednesday, CRN 11179. So the first thing I want to do with you guys is have a look at the e-classroom, because I know there were some mix-ups with the e-classroom. So this is what your e-classroom should look like. I know y'all could let me know if you're seeing this properly. Let me just bring this up because I want to see the see if hands go up or people asking questions and stuff. So I'll bring this in front of it. All right, you're seeing that? You'll need to let me know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yes,
seeing it?
sir.
Okay, good. All right, so this is where the material for this course is going to be set up. So let's go through the various areas. Let me just delete this. I don't need this extra thing here. So this is my welcome letter to you guys. You could go through and read it. It tells you about what the course is all about, and how the course is organized and what the evaluations are. You could go ahead and read that on your own. We'll be going through that with in a lot of details here. So under student resources, this block here, we have a number of reference and textbooks that you should download and store on your devices so that you can access them whenever you need them. There's a dictionary along with a couple of textbooks, right? 3 textbooks that you can utilize, recommended textbooks for you to utilize for the course. We have a group pair evaluation form that is to be utilized if I ask you to. You don't use it. This is based around the group project that you all have. If I'm having problems with your group, I may ask you all to do that, but only if I ask you to. Okay. This course outline and course schedule we'll be looking at in more detail, but this is where you can download your copy. It gives all the details of the course, all the assignments, the due dates for everything, and we'll be going through this in a lot more details this evening. All right, in this section here, we have the link to today's classes, and as I see the top here, I would like to shift the start time for this class from 5 to 5:30 for 2 reasons. One, it allows people more time to get home and get set. One and two, I have another class that goes from 2 to 5, and I would really appreciate the half an hour in between the two so I can get some time to, probably use the washroom, get something to munch on, and then get back to class. Would that be okay with everybody if we start our sessions
Yes,
here from
sir. Yes, sir, I
5:30?
agree.
That's
So you
no
can change it
problem.
to
Yes, sir.
5:30.
Agree,
All
sir.
right, that's fine. That I
So,
will I will do that. Yeah,
so we can change the time to 5:30.
I can change the time. You can't.
Okay, thank you. That would be great. I appreciate it because I reached late. I reached home 5:20. Thank you.
That's fine. That makes sense. All right. Below that is a WhatsApp chat group link. So that will be this WhatsApp chat group here. I'm hoping that all of you all have been able to join it. This is so we could speed up our communication with each other. So, like, say for instance, I have some circumstance that took place here that prevents me from attending a session. I can message you all and let you all know so that we end up wasting time. You follow me? Or if you are having a problem and you want to ask a question, you can communicate with me via that. You can either uh, WhatsApp me directly, or you can WhatsApp me in the group because my phone number is attached to that, so you can organize there. That makes sense. All right. Um, as all right. So one of the biggest challenges that this course is going to create is the need for citation. And as a result of that, I have a couple of resources that I've put here for you to be able to use. The first one being a direct link to the All Purdue Language Lab, in which you can go to look at the APA guide, because that's the form of citation that we utilize for this program. So once you go to the APA guide, it'll give you detailed instructions about how to go about doing the APA format citation in all of its areas. This is one of the things that tends to be the most challenging for students in this course. The need to understand that academic papers in this course require appropriate citation. If you've done Libs 130 already, you will understand where this is coming from. But all academic papers require proper referencing or proper citation. And there are two aspects to the citation. There's a citation list, and there's something called in-text citations. So the two main areas that we're looking for. Um, as you said, the citation, in-text citation, and the reference list. So you need to understand how that is done. So in order to assist you with that, I have, as I said, a link to the language lab, a video on how to use MS Word. For those of you who have MS Word, there's a referencing system built into the software that you can actually utilize. Um, though it's a little steep in terms of learning, but once you do learn it, it um, it it becomes something that you could use in all your courses. And actually, any course in which you have to present papers, will be required to do citation, and the department requires APA formatting. So this is also another video here from YouTube that you can utilize to help you understand how to go about doing that. And you're going to find in the e-classroom that I have lots of recordings to try and assist you with it. All right. This next section here, class session recordings. Whenever we have a session and it's recorded, the recording will end up here. All right. So that if you've missed a class, you will be able to come to this part here and view the recording, particularly if the session that we did is important, because not all the sessions we're going to do for the semester is going to be important. Some of the sessions is just touching base to find out how people are going. All right. Have any of you all already downloaded the course? The course outline with schedule? Just by show of hands. One or two. One. All right. But I would encourage everybody to download this. We will look at it in a little while in more detail so that you'll start to understand why this is kind of an important or critical thing for you to download. Thank you for sharing with us. For those of you who put your hands up. All right. That then brings us to the first um, assessment that is required, and you'd notice there's a due date on this already, October 8th. This is a forum discussion. So in essence, what this forum discussion, and is valued at 5% of your final grade. This forum discussion is based on the first individual assignment in the program, in this course. And what we've done is we've taken a few of the questions out of the individual assignment for you to tackle, write up your responses, which requires citation and so on, and post it into a forum discussion. All right, these are the questions here. These are just, well, let's say 4 questions out of the larger paper. So the idea is that you'll tackle these questions, put up your responses. Myself and your fellow students will look at your responses, and and they will comment on what you've done, and I will also give you more critical commenting on what you've done, and give you advice as to how you might be able to improve the work, or maintain the kind of work that you're doing. So there are 2 parts to it. One, posting your responses to these questions in the form of I would suggest that you write up your responses in a file, a Word file, and then attach it to the forum discussion, rather than trying to post your discussion into the forum itself. The reason for that is because if we click on the forum discussion, you're going to see it should take us to a, wait, sorry, if I click on this, All right, it's going to take us to the place where the instructions are put back up for you to see. And then at the bottom here, you could add to the discussion forum. When you click on add to the discussion forum, you see you could either you can post a file into this. All right. So at least you're supposed to be able to post a file into this. But you have to give it, you see everything with an asterisk of this nature, you you need to make sure you put into, so this would be your forum discussion response or forum response one, and then in the message area you upload your file. The reason why you should upload your file, it's because if you try to type it in here, whatever formatting you used in your Word document, you'll end up losing it. And I think the way it will be work, you could use the insert, and you should be able to insert. Wow, where is it? Hate the way this thing comes up. I'll check this and give you all a better thing, because I just have to remember this because there'll be so much nonsense with this. But I believe you should be able to upload a file into this forum here to be able to. Oh wait, I click on advanced. Right. So in the advanced setting, you can put load a file. See it there? So let me do that again so that because it kind of happened quick. So you go to click add discussion topic. You put in a title here. Let's say it's um, Antoinette Joseph, not Antoinette, Antonell, Antonell, Nell, Antonella Joseph's forum response. You click on advance, and in the advance, you don't necessarily have to put in anything here, but you can upload a file, drag and drop a file in here. All right, and then you post the forum. That makes sense? Maximum file size is 1 GB. All right, maximum number of files is 9, but you should just be putting them one at a time. That makes sense? Yes, everybody's following these instructions?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so that's your first assignment. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because we are, I want to see you attempt some piece of the assignment so that I can advise you of what you need to correct to be able to make sure that you make those particular changes in the final, the actual, the rest of the project. So what you'll do is whatever you've done for here, once you've made any corrections that I've suggested for you, like, and most times it's going to be to improve your citation techniques and methodology. I might tell you to expand your discussion because it's a little lacking. Um, or if you have an illustration that you're using, please make sure you cite it properly using the appropriate techniques and whatnot. Because some of these is asking you to use illustrations and discuss them. Others are just a pure discussion format. Others, you're free to use diagrams along with discussions. You know, you'd see the question based upon how it's asked, whether or not you have to use illustrations or diagrams, or in some instances, you just simply, you can use one if you want. So for example, this first question here, using graphical illustrations to explain consumer surplus, that is something you have to use a diagram here. Whereas in this question here, in the section under economies and diseconomies of scale, explain the general shape of the long run cost curve in relation to economies and diseconomies of scale. This one you don't have to, but a diagram would be useful in helping to shape your discussion. So it's a matter of, in this case here, the second case, it's a matter of do I have do I make that connection between the use of a diagram assisting me in answering a question. Similarly, in question two, the disadvantages of price ceilings and floors. While no, this is part of a larger question in which you would have had to use some diagrams, and I'll show you that assignment in a little bit. All right. So I want to see your ability to use and write your responses given and give you very clear guidelines as to what you need to do to improve and meet the requirements for academic papers, because that is very much the biggest challenge that you have. Because I don't know how many of you all in your first semester would have come across courses where you had to submit your papers with appropriate citation. Some of you all are, this is your first semester. For some of you all, it's your second semester. For some of you, it's the second year. So there's a variation in the knowledge base that you may have. And I want to try to make sure everybody has kind of like an even playing field. Now, for those of you who know exactly what's going on and how to do it, it'll be nice for you to do the work, put it up, and I could say, look at what, let's say, look at what Ms. Harewood has done, or look at what Mr. Prince has done. This is excellent work. Try and pattern your, not your responses, but your methodology of how you go about citing and stuff from this individual, and so on. All right, that makes sense? Yes, guys? No, maybe not.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So this is it, so because it's part of the first assignment, we kind of split some of the marks off. So generally, the individual assignment is 20 marks, but because we're giving part of it as a forum discussion, we've taken 5 marks and given it to this activity, because in a lot of instances, when we didn't give marks to it before, nobody did it. So you missed the opportunity. So the idea is, let's give this some currency, meaning some marks, so people would be encouraged or given an incentive to actually do the assignment. And that way, when by the time you write up your responses for the first assignment, you already know what's going to go on and what is required for you to create an academic paper. Because generally, the questions, you will not have a problem finding the responses and answering the questions. The problem that most students have in this course is actually, how do I go about formatting my responses to meet the requirements of an academic paper? And that is where people lose marks. Honestly, that is generally where the biggest problem is. Now, that then brings us to the assignment submission portals. Now, there are two parts to the portal. There is the Turnitin submission portals, and then the final draft submission portals. Okay? Okay, so this is the full assignment here for assignment 1. So, but let me talk about these Turnitin portals. The requirement of the college is that when you submit assignments, we allow for you to utilize other people's work to help generate your responses. But the rate of similarity between what you put together and what's supposed to be your original work, we allow for a similarity rating of 15%. So this portal is designed for you to take your before they become final drafts, your first and second drafts of your assignments for, let's say in this case, assignment 1, and upload it to this particular tool, online tool, that is going to um, look at. Now, of course, all of you haven't submitted anything, so it's not going to, there's nothing for it to do a comparison with. So upload your document and do a search against all the other databases that it has, including the internet. And it's going to say, okay, what percentage of your work is showing up as being similar to other sources of information. It's also going to be checking on AI if you have certain sections that are coming up that seem to be AI generated, and it will start to flag your work and so on. But the main thing that we're going to be looking for is what is the percentage similarity rating. That percentage similarity rating is supposed to be no more than 15%. That's the requirement. Now, we know that you're probably going to run into some issues with getting that sorted out. So having the Turnitin portal available, it's a tool for you to upload your work, check it out, see where you need to work, because it runs a report. Now, when you all start doing this, we will have a session and I'll go through utilizing some. I would get permission from one or two of the students in the class to show them, to show everybody the work and show how it comes up with the similarity reports, so that you'll understand better what this has been going on. Has anybody here ever used Turnitin before in another class? Show a hand.
No, sir.
What class was that, Miss Marcelin?
Um, Lang 097, as well
Okay,
as,
that was
yeah,
a writing course. Okay,
yeah, right, so yeah. And another, I think it's writing and one
like
other, but I can't recall right now. Yeah.
RIT 117.
7, yeah.
Right, again, because you're probably doing argumentative essays, and they wanted to make sure that you were using your own arguments, I guess, or research based, but you weren't copying things. Miss Headley, I saw you had your hand up earlier too. What was the course that you used it in?
Yes, sir. RIT 117.
RIT 117. Okay, so the was the same requirement set up, 15% similarity maximum.
Yes, sir. If
All
I
right.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Okay.
15. And it was
Yeah.
also able that when you upload, you could actually see how much percent similarity before you do the final submission. So you could
Right. And
always
that's the
take it back
point.
down and review.
Right. So you could correct. So you will be able to fix it, resubmit it to the portal, check and make sure that you've gotten your similarity rating down. Now, once you get that done, sorted out here, the final drafts are actually submitted down here. All right. So this one here is now I kind of did something here that maybe I shouldn't do. The individual assignment here, this is the submission point for it here. All right. So you come down to the end here and um, you put in your submissions. Well, I'm kind of looking at this from my perspective, so I'm just looking at all submissions. All right, I'll go in and kind of fix this a little bit because I was hoping. Actually, maybe I could do it here one time with you guys. Um, right, so this is where you should be clicking to do this. Let me just not display the question on the page. All right, save and return. That way it'll be a little more, a little easier for you to see. All right, and this is the group presentation element. Kind of jumping the gun here a bit, but I just want to fix the display so it looks a little more user friendly. All right, so this is where your final drafts are coming in. Let me change this as well because there's also something for the PowerPoint presentations. I'll get to all of that in a bit. All right. So all your final drafts have to be submitted here. So when you click on this, um, well, it will still display in this place here. It'll display the thing, and there will be a place for you to upload. All right. For me, I'm going to see it as the place to view because I'm the teacher. So maybe if I change my view to student, it might display it the way you should see it. All right, here we go. 15%. So you should see add submission. That's what I wouldn't see that as a lecturer because there's no need for me to. So you can add your submission to this. Attempt number 1, no submissions have been made, not graded, so on and so on. So this is what you would see when you go to add your submission. But the concept here is that you would only be submitting this when you've gotten through the Turnitin portal and get it down to your
Gosh,
15%.
Kira.
That makes sense?
What? I did like that.
Miss Headley, you okay? Your microphone's on.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So as I said, you're using the Turnitin portals to get your similarity ratings down to 15%, or to ensure that they're at 15%, and then your final drafts come in to this section here where you're going to submit your final drafts once you've gotten them down. All right. Now, as a student, once you get something done, you could click on mark as done. All right. I'm leaving that as a manual thing for you to do so that you could mark off what you finished sorting out. And this has to do with almost every part of the course. Huh? So even up here where it is to like download stuff in your student resources and stuff, you could click off when you have when it's marked as done kind of situation. All right. um, so that just in case you need to remind yourself where you are at any point in time. If you don't click them off as markers done, they'll stay open that way, and that way you can. So you see, this one has a to-do notification. Anything that has a deadline, it'll start to give you those kind of notations and hints. All right. So everybody's following this so far in terms of how to use the portals, the Turnitin, and the final draft. If anybody's confused, now's the time to talk about it and ask questions. If everybody's cool, we can move forward. All right? Silence is consent, huh? So let me know. All
Wait,
right,
so
so
sir, one
you go ahead, John.
so
Go
sir,
ahead. Hmm.
basically it's two submissions, so one assignment for each. Basically, you say no, that the
Yeah.
final draft and it have
The one I'm marking is the final draft. I'm not marking the Turnitin. But I would help you
oh,
work to understand how the Turnitin works. I will work with you to help with that. It also gives me a good idea too by looking at your Turnitin to see if you're maintaining your quality. Yes, Jarius, go ahead.
oh, yeah. And so the first the open forum, right? That
Hmm.
just questions you had to type, just type in, the same one I was going through. Yeah, the one the 5%, yeah, that.
Yeah, this
You know
one.
the insert no kind of graph or anything with that.
Yes, you would have to. You'd have to do a response to these few questions here as if it were a final project. The idea for me is to see your ability to handle putting together questions in a final draft format, including citation, use of diagrams, page numbering, title pages, everything. I want to see everything. That way,
Oh,
that way I can advise you what you need to do when you move on to the these actual assignment one, the journal assignment, and so on. All right. So it's sort of like a practice run, if you put it that way. If I could put it that way, it's a practice run, but it's a practice run for 5 marks. Now, I'm being going to be very lenient here. If you make your submissions and they're not quite what I require, I'm not marking the quality of your work because I want to see what you're capable of doing. Once you make the submission, you're going to get your 90% for this assignment, for the forum discussion. Once you comment critically on somebody else's work, you get the next 10%. So it gives me the opportunity to tell you this is good work, or this has to be fixed, or that has to be fixed. That doesn't mean you have to go and fix the forum discussion. What it means is when you start to use these same responses in the answer for assignment one, I expect to see in assignment one you've made those improvements to the assignment. So by the time you submit the final draft, it's like a perfect academic paper. Kind of makes sense, guys? So the forum discussion is like a practice run, and the individual assignment one is like the final response. That making better sense there, Mr. Wickham?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Everybody else follows that? All
Yes.
right.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Right. Feedback is important, guys. All right, so we'll come back to these because I want to go through these with hold a second, guys. Guys, just give me about 5 minutes, and I'll just have to go and open a door for somebody. I'll come back. In the meantime, you could have a look at the e-classroom and see if you're seeing anything that you're not understanding. So by the time I come back, you could ask questions about it.
Yes.
Sure.
All right, sorry about that. Any questions so far? Hi, any questions so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Okay.
Not of right now, sir. But sir, you in the WhatsApp group chat too, or just classmates?
No, I am there too.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So you could reach out to me. Actually, I'm the administrator. All right. Actually, this person needs to be. Right. So there are 25 of us there. We still have some people missing. All right. So once we get past the assignments submission points, the next thing that starts is the various units. So this has to do directly relates to the course outline. Unit 1 is the introduction, and you see some of the topics here. What is economics? What is economics 2, and so on. These are the readings for it. This is the unit presentation. This is an old recording I had done with narration, but this is the PowerPoint here. All right, from it. So what this is YouTube links. So this is a video that explaining what is economics. All right. This is something for you to go through. There are readings from the Sloman and from the textbooks and these are the textbooks that are up in the student resources. So you would download them, you would go to these specific pages and read these sections to deal with the introduction. I have done a PowerPoint presentation with the same content, running the same content. All right. And that all of this is the information necessary for Unit 1. At the end of Unit 1, you'll see a unit quiz. So once you've gone through the material and you feel comfortable with it, you'd notice that The quiz is open already, and it closes on the 24th of December. So you click on the quiz, and you can attempt the quiz. You'd notice here, the quiz is open. You're allowed 3 attempts. There's a time limit of 20 minutes, and the method of grading is whatever. If out of the 3, if you do 3, you get. I take the highest grade that you generate. All right. When you're attempting the quiz now, we click on attempt, start attempt. It consists of 10 multiple choice questions. All right, you'd see this here, quiz navigation. And you'd see a timer here. You have to answer the questions by just selecting it, so it's multiple choice. Let's say, I'm not even reading this thing. Let's say this is the right answer, check. Hey, it's right. So we go to the next page. We make our choice here. Which of the following is a normative statement? So you have to know what a normative statement is, which is what the content would be about. Let's say this is D. Right, we go to the next page. The Latin phrase ceteris paribus means. All right, next page. The study of economics is best described as a study of. You'll tell me which one should I choose here? Can you see them? Anybody who
Excuse the
sorry?
screen showing sort of blurry. The reading showing sort of blurry. I'm not sure if it's just me alone, but on my end, it's showing sort of blurry.
I'm
Is it
fine.
blurry for everybody?
No, I'm fine.
All right, that might be a network issue on your case. Anyway, so
Fine for me.
sorry, is it clear for everybody else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, clear.
Yes, sir.
So somebody suggest an answer.
Yeah.
Which A, B, C, or D?
Yeah.
A?
That's fine. Yeah.
That's your final answer? Yep, that was correct. So next one. All right, a common political statement in the country is that we must strengthen social security. This statement is an example of what? An answer to what to produce question, a positive statement, a normative statement, an answer to how to produce question. Anybody? All right, so I'll let you know that's a normative statement. All right, that's somebody's opinion. Next, we have question 6. Which branch of economics studies the decisions of individual consumers and individual firms? Normative economics, positive economics, microeconomics, economics, or macroeconomics?
Microeconomics.
Yeah.
Check C. All right. Okay, so we got that right. Next. Which of the following is a microeconomic issue? The price of gasoline increases in this year. The government cuts taxes to combat recession. The employment rate soars. The economy experiences rapid growth. Which of these is a microeconomics issue?
A.
Right? Economics is the social science that studies what? The psychology of individuals and businesses, how people make choices to cope with scarcity, whether a nation has enough natural resources, the real reason people buy goods and services.
D, I think.
B.
B?
So,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. So here we go. Next page. Question 9. The statement that increases in the tax on gasoline increase the price of gasoline is an example of what? Marginal statement, normative, macroeconomic statement or a positive statement? Anybody has an idea? No? All right, let you all know that's a positive statement. You all will need to know why that is a positive statement. So it means that whole unit is about positive and normative statements about what is economics. Which of the following statements is a positive statement? Online shopping increased by 50% this Christmas season. Our country needs to increase social spending. Too many people are unemployed. There should be a computer in every classroom. Which one is a positive statement?
A.
Why is that a positive statement?
I don't know. It just gives off more positive vibes than the rest. In my
Positive
opinion.
vibes. I like that.
The
All right.
increase in e-commerce.
That is what that statement is about. But what makes it a positive statement is that positive statements are factual in nature, that they can be verified and tested. So of all the statements there, that's the only one that could be measured. We can't measure our country needs to increase social spending. That's an opinion or normative statement. Too many people are unemployed. How much is too many? You follow? There should be a computer in every classroom. The statement by itself, there should be, ought to be. That is those are uh, somebody's point of view. You follow me? So if we check that, should see that is correct. So finish attempt, and it'll give me my results. It'll let me know that I submitted. I got all correct. Submit all and finish, and you'd find that my results will come back. It's still trying to submit. This is some of the things that happens to you when you're running when you run quizzes and stuff like that. But what happens is I have a fail-safe set on it. So if something goes wrong, your last attempt will be automatically saved. All right, on from my thing. You notice I went through this kind of quickly, and I okay. I can't wait for you to be doing this. All right, so I'll just click back here and get out of it. No, for crying out loud. All right, there we go. So that was the quiz. So the idea is for each of the units that you have to do, you go through the content, all right, and you do the readings or in whatever order you want. Maybe you could start with the readings from the textbooks and then look at the PowerPoint presentation, look at the couple of videos I might have attached to it, and when you feel you feel comfortable with the content, then you tackle the quiz. And because you have more than one attempt, if you do the quiz and you got a bad result, let's say you get less than 5 or well, for me, less than 100 is not good enough. All right. What you need to try and get is full marks for all these quizzes, because collectively the quizzes are going to amount to 30% of your final grade. Okay. So if you find you're not satisfied with the grade you got, you have 2 more attempts, but it doesn't mean just go and do it all at one time. If you get a poor result in your quiz, because the quiz is very specific to the content in the class, in the unit, it means you didn't quite grasp the concepts from the unit. So you might need to go back into the material, reevaluate it, and then attempt the quiz again. Unfortunately, sometimes students like to go through the material and do a quiz and then try the quiz immediately afterwards. That is not the purpose of having multiple attempts, right? And when you're finished with it, you close it off. At the end of the semester, I will be gathering all your quiz scores and everything, and start to compile all your marks along with your submissions from that. Now, every unit, Unit 2, for example, deals with key concepts on the economic system, starts with some YouTube links, the readings, PowerPoint presentation, quiz. So it's all the same thing. It's systematically set up that way. Now you're going to see that I went from Unit 2 to Unit 5. That is just the way it is on it's just the way I prefer to tackle the content. We'll come back to Units 3 and 4 after Unit 5. So you go to Unit 5 on consumer behavior. So there's a PowerPoint presentation. There is me doing a live session many moons ago. Um, I recorded. I keep it here because I felt that it was a good session where I explained some stuff. These are readings. These are videos related to the same content that will kind of explain everything in a different way, not necessarily in a different material, but what it is a different technique being utilized to explain them. And then, of course, the unit closes with the quiz. So every unit is set up in that order. So as I said, after Unit 5, we went back to 3, demand and supply. PowerPoint presentation. This was a class session that I did where I recorded. I went through the same PowerPoint and I kind of went through it on my own here for you. This was quite early in the game. You'd notice I don't have a background running there, and I'm leaning over, so I was using laptops. And this was when what was going on, boy? This was just when the corona started, actually, not too far back. All right, then you have the readings. Then these are all videos. So this one is playable right here. All right. So these are right here. These are links to other videos, and that you could click on and go to and look at outside. Okay. Unfortunately, I am using a VPN. Could skip that. You'll find you'll find I use this guy a lot because I find he has a really interesting methodology of explaining the concepts. It's an American-based thing. He's a bit rushed. He has a bit of an accent, so sometimes it's a little tricky to understand him. But I find that his explanations are quite entertaining. So check them out and see when you get to them. And then, of course, after all the videos, readings, and stuff, you have the quiz again. Same thing with Unit 4, elasticity. Again, we have readings, PowerPoint presentation, videos, quiz. Theory of the firm 1, readings, PowerPoint presentation, videos, and then quiz. Then Theory of the Firm Unit 7, Theory of the Firm Part 2. Well, Theory of the Firm 2, Part 1, readings, videos. And this one has a lot more videos because it's a bigger area of the course. And then a quiz. And then this is an extra one. This is Unit 7, Part 2, Theory of the Firm 2 of Part 2. Do you notice there's no videos in it because it's only about graphing? I think somebody spoke about graphing in the thing, but this is graphing in relation to firms and firms activities, and there's a quiz on that. And this quiz is all about graphs. Now, everybody kind of follows what's going on here on the e-classroom. It looks
Yes.
straightforward. We
Yes, sir.
understand, we understand, or you understand what I intend, or what the intentions are in terms of um, how I'd prefer you to, tackle your quizzes and stuff like that. Don't just do everything all at once, right? Make sense? All right.
Yes, sir.
Remember to download your textbooks so that you can go and do your readings and stuff. You don't have to wait to do your readings while you're in class. If you download these to some device that you have, maybe a laptop, or if you have these readers, I don't know, on your phone. In fact, you might be able to download and store your textbooks there. So while you have a break somewhere and you're relaxing, or you're away from the PC, you could sit and read off your phone, because I know I do a fair amount of reading that way. There's even some apps you can utilize, which is text to speech, which might be able to help you. I don't know how useful it'll be on some of these textbooks, but it's something that you can attempt. I see somebody got something in the chat. All right, Ms. Toussaint, is your screen cleared up?
A little, so.
A little. What's happening there? You probably need to go out and come back in, and it'll clear up on your network. All right.
Okay, so. Do that.
Let me try something here. Let me stop sharing and then and share again, and see if it helps you. How's that?
Yes, sir, better.
That helps you? Okay. All right. So what I want to go to now is the course outline. That's the item I told you you can download off the e-classroom. The course outline with, because this is where all the details of the the activities and assignments and stuff will be held, along with all the other information that is necessary. So you'd see all the title information here. Can you all see this clearly, guys? Is it large enough? A thumbs up or yes?
Yes, sir.
Yep, yep. Okay. All right. Somebody's trying to get back in. All right. Okay. So you all can go through and read these sections. So you'd notice this course contains 8 units with varying levels of content density. Um, so kind of talks about, so students should dedicate no less than 12 hours per week towards learning these activities. 12 hours a week divided by 5, that's about 2.5 hours a day. Um, uh, Actually, if you give it about 5 hours a week, it might be good. But it requires that you do a number of things. All right. So I told you there are 8 quizzes on the system. I'm taking the best 7 out of the 8, and that's weighted at 30%. The these are assessments, right? Online discussion forum 5%. The individual research paper, because it's shared with the forum, is 15%. So collectively they are 20%. An article journal 20%. A group research paper 20%. A group presentation 10%. So tonight we actually have to put you all in groups. But let's go through the other assignments and stuff. This is my contact information, which you already have. You're already in WhatsApp with me in a group chat. These are my email addresses for us to be able to meet. If you want to talk to me independently or individually, message me on WhatsApp and we'll set up an online meeting. I'll call you on WhatsApp, or we can message each other on WhatsApp, because with the improvements to the WhatsApp, it's the WhatsApp app. We now could share screens and that kind of stuff too. So it really is becoming a really go-to kind of app for us to utilize to facilitate one-to-one sessions, or even small classroom sessions. All right. Communication policies. So I'm available most times, most days. But you know what I'd like you all to do is to give me some time on weekends for myself. So if you can avoid contacting me on a weekend, I'd appreciate it. But I know as we start to have assignments come due and stuff like that, you might panic a little bit. At least cut off by 9 o'clock at night and 4 o'clock on weekends, if at all. But I know when you're panicking, you don't really care. You're just going to reach out, sir, I need this, and all kind of rubbish has happened. So I expect some of those things, but as much as you can, please respect my time, and I'll try and respect yours as well. All right. So primarily, most things should be through email or through the group WhatsApp. We'll see how that goes on. This gives a course overview. You all can spend time and read that. What I want to go to now is the course schedule, because it kind of details what's happening. You all can read the other sections if you want. Not if you want. You ought to read them. Who's this? It's Harewood. You ought to read them because it gives good details about what's happening, why we're doing what we're doing, what is the intention of the program, and that type of stuff. All right, so this is the course schedule that we want to spend some time looking at. You'd see today's date, week 1, introduction, and question, Miss Harewood. All right, I'm muting her off there. All right. So this is, you realize there's no content coming on here because I want to spend some time going through all the material and making sure that everybody understands everything. So this is our online session 1. Now you'd notice the next class is the 17th of September. I am not planning to have a session, but I expect that you would start working on Unit 1. These are the same things that are on the e-classroom. You have this, you can also use the link with it as well. These are the readings that you should be looking at from the textbooks that again you should download from the e-classroom as well. All right. Um, so like the first thing you ought to be looking at is from the textbooks themselves, and then you start to look at what's coming on before. So the PowerPoint, unfortunately, you'd have to go to the e-classroom to get that. All right. Um, the 24th of September should have been where we would have a second session, but this is really just to kind of touch base, make sure people are okay. But the 24th of September is a public holiday, so I don't want to really call you all out for a session on that day. But during that week, you should be tackling the economic problem. That's Unit 2. And again, same information there. Um, weeks 4 and 5, the 1st and 8th of October, you should be tackling Unit 5 because I expect it will take about 2 weeks to deal with this. In the meantime, however, you should also be working on the forum discussion because by week 5, you should be posting your forum discussion submissions into the thing. So the deadline for this is midnight on the 8th of October. So you kind of have to work on multiple fronts to work on these things. All right. Um, so I guess you all are getting the idea of. So I expect I will have a session with you all on the 1st of October. I might even call a session on the 8th of October just to see how people are coming along with their forum discussion. But I will WhatsApp you all, and in the WhatsApp I'll probably run a poll to see how many people want to meet online, if we should have a class or not, or if people just want to focus on getting their forum discussion finished and uploaded. So because I don't want to be intrusive in your time, because to a great extent you're going to be on your own working on things, but at the same time I want to be available in the sense that if you need additional assistance, I'll be quite willing to step in and give you all a hand and help explain things and get you for you to get more comfortable with the material. So by 15th of October, this is what I expect you should be tackling, um, the Unit 3. Now, if you can move faster, you can move faster. If you have to take it a little slower, you're taking it a little slower. At the end of the day, I try to make your deadlines for submissions. That's the main thing. In terms of actually working through the units, you might want to. Some people might find they could go through faster, and if you want to do that, feel free. You can pace yourself. That's why I didn't set up anything in the quizzes or anything where there is a cut date earlier in the semester. Everything is open for the entire semester, with the exception of some of the forum discussion. I have a deadline. The first the by the 30th of October, I expect you should be finished with the rest of assignment 1 and submit it all into your final draft by the 30th of October. And I'll tell you something else about that afterwards. So the 22nd of October, I expect that I might have a session because during that session you should be dealing with Unit 4 on elasticity. Um, by the 5th of November, I'll probably want to come back to you guys then, because you would have been spending about 2 weeks, weeks 8 and 9 on Theory of the Firm 1, because that's a big area. And you might have questions and concerns and things you want to get answered. Simultaneously, by the end of October, you need to get the individual assignment out and done. Then Unit 7, Theory Firm 2, another 2 weeks later, there's all this stuff that you have to go through. This unit here, Unit 8, is actually not dealt with. It's quite interesting. This is a self-directed unit because the questions you have to answer in assignment 1 actually tackle all of the learning outcomes required for Unit 8, distribution of income. So in answering the questions for that assignment, you're tackling all of the learning outcomes for Unit 8 in distribution of income. And I'll show you that afterwards. We'll go through those elements in a little bit. All right. Um, the 26th of November, I want to do a review session. That'll be should be at least our fifth meeting. And the reason why we're doing that on the 26th is because on the 3rd of December, the groups, they will be doing their presentations. And the 14th of December, no, classes actually end on the 6th of December. Exams take place the following 2 weeks. For some of you all, you might have some final exams. For a lot of you all, you may not have. For example, this class doesn't have a final exam, so you don't have to worry about that. By the 14th of December, I expect you should be finished with your journal assignment, and you'd realize that is after the semester ends. I'm not going to force you to get that journal in before the end of semester. The quizzes will all close on the 24th of December. That's Christmas Eve. And I expect that your group written project should also be submitted on or before the 24th of December. All right. So what I've done here is I've summarized all the assignment due dates so that they're all in one place and not spread all over the all over the schedule. So you have the online forum 8th of October, individual assignment 1 30th, group oral presentations 3rd of December, journal assignment 14th of December, group written projects 24th of December, quizzes closed 24th of December. I've put in here grade submission deadline 4th of January. So you'll understand from the 24th of December, if I take Christmas and Boxing Day off, that's the 25th, 26th, and I start back work on the 27th of December, I have like 8 days to mark everybody's work, not only in this class but other classes, and upload your grades. So I cutting it real close, extending my submission deadlines to the 24th of December. Now, I don't know about you, but if you check with some of your other classes, they're going to ask you to submit everything by the end of the semester. I am asking you to submit your work when semester is finished to give you a little more time to, have a little more fit. But that doesn't mean you wait and procrastinate. Now, that's the dangerous thing that tends to happen sometimes with students. Because they know they have a little more time. Sorry, I forgot to mark on my camera. Because they have a little more time, so give them a little more time. There's push my work to the side and work on other people's things. I mean, yeah, I can understand that, but try and don't set yourself up where you're rushing to do everything last minute. If in fact you get it put done out earlier, and you submit before the 24th of December, better yet for you and your group. That sounds feasible, guys?
Yes.
Does the submission deadlines look doable? Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So let's start the questions. Anybody? Mr. Wickham?
No, so me no questions.
I
I
see
can
a,
just say yeah.
I see your microphone
Yeah.
open. All right. Oh, so you're just agreeing. Okay. All right. So let's look at the assignments in a little more detail. Um, you all can read all of this stuff about grades and stuff. You've probably seen that a lot in other assignments. So we spoke already about the forum discussion, but again, it's here in the course outline in full detail. These are the instructions. Um, so the students are required to answer all questions as well as provide a critique of at least one of their colleagues' responses. So that is the requirements. You have to submit your responses to the questions into the forum discussion, and you also have to critically comment on somebody else's responses. That will give you the 100% for this, or the 5 marks for this activity. Remember what the purpose of the forum discussion is: for me to be able to evaluate what you're capable of and give you advice as how to improve it to meet academic paper the requirements for academic papers. All right, so I'll be submitting um, specific responses to your submissions to advise you what you need to do. In the meantime, it says please utilize your referencing system. The APA system is the preferred version. Submissions must be made soft copy on the online to the e-classroom and so on. These are the learning outcomes that we're checking with here. And these are the questions. You're familiar with these already. These are the 4 questions that we spoke about already. So again, more details here. So this is the online discussion forum that you should get sorted out by the 8th of October. All right. Now I said that so there's this is the rubric I'll be utilizing to evaluate your work and let you know what's happening. All right. Okay. So I said that that forum discussion comes out of this individual assignment here, which is why it is now 15% and not 20% it used to be before. So this is due for the 30th of October, and of course, again, you're required to answer all your questions. You have to format this like an academic paper, with utilizing double line spacing, a fairly large font. Set up your pages at 8.5 by 11, 1-inch margins on all sides. These are the requirements for any academic paper. APA recommends that you use 12-point times New Romans or Arial, but it needs to be large enough for me to be able to read it properly. Don't worry with borders around your work. Don't worry with all those fancy things. Those are requirements if you're publishing something for sale outside. But for academic work, you don't need all that kind of fanciness. In fact, it generally takes away from your work because it makes it a little. It gives more problems um, to format it properly. All right, so pay attention to that. Let's look at the questions that. So you'd notice that there are 3 key sections of the assignment. And what we did was, you'd see question 1 here is using graphical illustrations to explain consumer surplus. That was the one that was extracted and put into the forum discussion. So there, I expect that you will take your response from the forum discussion and put it back here. Do not put your forum, let me warn you all about it. Do not post your forum discussions into the Turnitin. Don't do it, because if you put it in there and then you take those same responses and stick it into this assignment, when you run it through Turnitin, it's going to come up as absolutely copied. All right, because it's going to check back on the COSTAT database as well. So don't put your forum discussions through the Turnitin portals, please. Try and remember that. I should probably put a note like that on it. I'll update something on the e-classroom just to remind you all not to do that. So you'd see that that same question is returned here. Yes, you can take the responses you wrote up for the forum discussion. Once you get my kind of seal of approval. Yeah, this is a good response. This will work. That kind of stuff. You have correct citation. Take that. So it's called sort of like a kickstart for this assignment, and then you go on to answer the rest of the 4 questions. Explain the following using examples. What is an inferior good? What's a Giffen good? What's a Veblen good? Distinguish between price ceilings and floors. So in this, you might want to use a diagram to help. Explain 2 advantages and disadvantages of ceilings and floors. That was one of the other questions that was repeated in the forum discussion. Despite the disadvantages of ceilings and floors, why may governments still choose to implement these 2 forms of pricing strategies? So again, readings from the textbook plus other additional research will help to fill in your information there. The next section is on economies and diseconomies of scale. You'll see that distinguish between economies and diseconomies of scale, ensuring to differentiate between internal and external economies of scale. That's for 5 marks, so it's a basic discussion. You don't need to use a diagram, but using a diagram might help to make things. Question 2 was the one that was in the forum discussion, so I expect that the response that you wrote up for the forum discussion will find itself reoccurring here, with the improvements that I suggest to the work that you've done. which could also include the use of a diagram. And then part 3 here, identify and describe 3 examples of economies of scale and 3 examples of diseconomies of scale, and explain why economies of scale are only available in the long run. So this is a big, thicker discussion. You can see by the 15 marks there. So this one requires a little more development and discussion and analysis. So you could look at the weighting of the questions, and you'd realize which ones require more effort or more input than the others. This is the section distribution of income that is unit 8. So all of these things here cover the learning outcomes for unit 8. Factors of production. What are the 4 factors of production? We know that's land, labor, capital, and enterprise or entrepreneurship. So you have to explain them. You just can't state them. You have to explain them. Provide explanations for the following concepts: derived demand, factor income, transfer earnings, economic rent. These are all economic terms. For some of these, there are diagrams that can be attached, especially economic rent and transfer earnings. Derived demand and factor income is more or less something that you could discuss and explain. Briefly explain why demand for concert tickets is considered derived demand. Well, this is the same question that would have been in the forum discussion for 5 marks, so I expect that your response there would be repeated in this part here. So in doing the forum discussion, you're actually doing part of this first assignment. So you're just going to be adding the other sections, or you could choose to do the other way around. You could actually tackle the entire assignment, extract those questions that are required for the forum discussion, put it together, submit it, get that checked out, so it's a technique you could utilize to help cut down on the work that you're doing, or to what's the word I want to use? Economize on your time usage. All right, and that's it. That's forum. This is assignment 1. In essence, this is assignment 1 and forum discussion all together, because it's the same instrument that we're using. Everybody's following this thus far? Yes? No?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to, well, this is the marking scheme, and these are the rubrics for marking it. So you can go through them so you'd see what we're looking for. This is the second article, the second assignment, assignment 2. This one is due December 14th. Now, this requires that we spend some time doing something other than reading what's in the class, because you are required as a student to retrieve an article from the newspapers or from magazines, online, or papers or wherever, either local, regional, or international, and conduct an in-depth analysis of it using the questions that are given below to guide the analysis. All right? So in essence, there are 2 aspects to this. You have to first of all locate or find an article that has microeconomic concepts in it. Then you're going to use these questions here to guide a discussion about it. Yes? Seeing that? So the first thing you have to do is I have to approve your articles. So once you find an article, you can post it, you can send it to me via WhatsApp or email, and I will let you know, yeah, this is a good article, you could use that. So you either send me the link, or you do well, I wouldn't say screenshot. The links are usually better, of the article, and I will give you an idea of whether it's going to be good or not. Now, really interestingly, we have a budget presentation that's going to come up here in September or October, depending on when they determine to read it. And that's going to spin off a whole set of articles that are going to come up in the paper about the budget. And some of them will have microeconomic impacts and can impact upon some microeconomic concerns. So that means you're going to have a plethora of articles to choose from in October, or from October or September, because even coming up to the budget, you might see some articles coming up. Now, the articles cannot be older than 6 months old. Why? Because if it's older than that, it's more than likely gotten stale, or the concept or idea has gone. It has changed. All right, everybody understands this. So there are two aspects to this articles journal. One, find the article, get it approved by me. Once I approve it, then you could go about doing the analysis, utilizing this here. Again, you have to have full citation for all of this, including the article that you're utilizing, because a copy of the article has to be attached to your journal, so you'll know which one you're doing. Either the link to it or the full article, you can attach it to the document that you're putting in. All right? Any questions on this? You have these 7 questions that you're going to be following through to do your analysis. All right? Any questions on this? This makes sense? You all understand what the instructions are asking you to do?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Again, this is the mark scheme for it. These are the rubrics that govern or guide our marking of the activity. Again, generally, most people tend to do this fairly well. Unfortunately, what tends to happen is students tend to wait until the last minute to find the articles and then struggle with it. One of the things I like to do is if I find articles that are useful for this exercise, I would copy them and put them in the WhatsApp chat and say, hey, guys, this is an article. And it means that more than one person can use the same article. So I might find some articles just to kind of kick things along, give you an idea of what's a good thing to try. Most of the times I try to stay within like the Guardian or the Express if I find things there. Some people find things on Newsday or some of the online publications. Some of the stuff came from the States a lot, some comes from the UK, because you can also tackle international things. The questions themselves, though, kind of lend themselves to trying to work out how would that issue affect a household in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, if the article, if the issue is something that has international impact, well then yeah, we could see how it might. You could discuss it as being how it would impact on Trinidad and Tobago, but you have to be careful. The issue that you'll be looking at has to be one that is microeconomic in nature, not macro. And that is going to be the problem because the pretty part of economics or the more attractive part or popular part of economics is macroeconomics. Microeconomics tends to be a little harder to see, and therefore that's why I want to guide you into finding the articles necessary for this assignment. That makes sense, and you understand my concerns there. I'd recommend that you all go through these assignments on your own and read them carefully, okay? All right. That then brings us to the quizzes, and we've already talked about them. There are 8 quizzes. You're going to do, I'm taking the 7 best out of it. You have at least 2 attempts for each quiz. This is the schedule. They're all set for 20 minutes. I'm going to take the best 7 out of it, and they count for 30% of your final grades. All of them are going to be in the form of 10 multiple choice questions that you're going to tackle in that 20 minutes time frame. So in essence, you have 2 minutes per question. And you work from there. As I said, you have more than one attempt because the questions actually come from question banks that have sometimes 15 to 20 questions. So every time it runs like when you take another attempt, you're not necessarily going to get back the same questions you had before, but you're going to get back questions of the same ilk, meaning they come from the same content areas, but they will be simply different questions. It's a randomization feature that's available on the system. All right. So do not leave your quizzes until the last minute, and please don't not do your quizzes. That's something that amazes me all the time. Remember, this is 30%. Without this, you're not going to get a good grade. I don't understand why people don't do the quizzes. So please do your quizzes. Try to do them consistently as you tackle all your units moving through. And I'm setting a opening time. It's already open. Closing time is 24th of December. So There's no excuse for you to tackle your quizzes. All right, so that brings us to the assessment 4, which is the group project. Now, the group project is separated into two elements. You have the oral presentation, which is 10 marks, and the written paper, which is 20 marks. The written paper is due the 24th of December. We talked about that already. And the the presentation is due, I believe it's the 3rd of December. That's the last teaching week. All right? So basically, what is this whole thing about? So basically, what we're going to do in this class, we're going to create teams of 5 students, groups of 5 students each. You all are going to select a country that you would like to do research about, and then you're going to conduct that research, and you're going to put together a economic analysis, a microeconomic analysis of the country following these questions here. What type of economic system does that country have? Explain 3 benefits and drawbacks of the system to that specific country. Now, it can't be just the benefits that you see written about in the textbooks where it just says planned economic systems have the benefit of so and so and so. It can't be those. It has to be specific benefits or challenges that the country itself that you've chosen to examine has or is experiencing. So they have to be country specific, and there should be cited sources of information and examples. All right. Question 2, discuss how the economic system allocates the country's resources, providing examples of its impact on demand decisions in the country, and 2 examples on supply decisions for firms in the country. So again, this is very specific. It starts in a general, discussing the allocation system or methodology, but you need to see or provide examples of it occurring in the country. 2 from demand side, which is consumers, how that system affects consumer decision making, and 2 examples of it affecting firms and their decision making. What is the dominant type of firms that exist in the country, providing examples, 2 examples per type identified. Now, when we say types of firms, what do we refer to? We mean, are the dominant firm structures partnerships, what do you call it, sole traders? Are they public companies, private companies? What kind of firms is the predominant type of company or firm that exists in that economy? All right, depending upon the country you're looking at. Question 4 shifts us over to looking at market structures. So what is the dominant type of market structure? Now, for those of you who haven't done economics, there's a distinction between types of firms and market structures, or types of market structures. So for those of you who have already done economics, it means that when we talk about market structures, we're talking about, is it a monopoly market, a oligopoly market, a duopoly market? Is it a monopolistic market? And some people say perfect market, but perfect markets really don't exist except in the markets for raw materials or things like oil and some forms of agriculture, large scale agriculture. All right, but perfect markets are exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a perfect market used to compare reality again. So it's an ideal structure that doesn't exist in the real world. All right, so that's what we mean when we talk about market structures. Generally, what helps you to determine market structures is the amount of firms and players that are operating in the market. And you come across some really weird words, oligopolistic, monopsonies. You're going to come across some weird things there. So look out for those things. And when you're presenting, make sure you understand, do you know how to pronounce them properly if you come across them? All right, question 5. Describe the impact that this market structure has on output prices and profitability. That has to do with theory of the firm and price determination and profit determination. So provide 2 examples of its impact on consumers and 2 examples on producers, and these have to be specific to the countries that you're looking at. So I expect that there would be some challenges here. But again, I am here to try and help you all in your group activities as well. That makes sense? Let me bring this back up. All right. That's question 5, and then question 6. Uh, I want to get rid of this question because it's getting old. But for now, describe 2 positive and negative impacts that the coronavirus had on households and firms in this country. Um, it's starting to lose its relevance at this point in time, so this part of the question needs to be updated. But for now, it's still here. I don't have the authority to just change the instrument just like that. Um, so generally, most countries have had both positive and negative impacts, but you're gonna probably have to go back a little bit because some of the countries are still suffering from some of the impacts latent from when we had the pandemic. So again, it's specific to the countries, but they tend to be very similar across the board from one country to the next. Now, alongside with the question, you also have to do an introduction to each of the countries that you choose, and that should include the main demographics of the countries, its location, size, things about its culture, food, clothing, distinctive holidays, language, population, what type of government is in existence, government system, who are the current leaders, things of interest in the country, that all these kind of things that help make it enjoyable as well. You can also download photos and pictures from the country so that when you're doing your project presentations, you have nice little images and things that you can utilize in the presentation to help make it look aesthetically pleasing as well as interesting. So what is going to happen then is your project is going to be in your presentation. You're going to answer all of these questions plus the introduction, and you have to include a conclusion as well when you finish off. All right, remember that always you're going to be doing that kind of thing. Um, so what you're going to do is in about 20 minutes or so, you're going to provide in the oral communication, you're going to 20 to 25 minutes, which is roughly about 5 minutes per member, to summarize their findings from the research for all of the questions that they've done for it. All right. The PowerPoint that you will probably generate to do that presentation um, has to also be submitted, but don't do any submissions until after presentations are completed. So just in case there's any issues or problems. So this is one of the reasons why I want to see the presentation before you submit the paper. Because if you made a big mistake, I want you to be able to fix the write-up, okay? So that you don't get double marked for the same error in the presentation and the written project. Remember, the written project is 20%, the presentation is 10%, or 10 marks as the case would be. Notice, of course, in both instances, we're going to pay attention to citation, meeting citation requirements. So everything in this course is going to focus heavily on the need to maintain citation issues. Okay. I spoke about here about peer evaluation. Do not use the peer evaluation until I ask you to use it. All right. This is punitive in nature, and I want to take every opportunity to prevent groups from having meltdowns and problems. This this peer evaluation is sort of like a punishment. It hurts everybody in the group, even those that actually do the work. So the idea is, let's not get to the point where we are jumping on each other about doing work. You know you have work to do, step up and get it done. All right? Because I have no qualms in giving somebody 0. Um, because if we've been making the effort to reach out to you to try and get work done and you haven't been responding, you're an adult, you know what you should be doing. I am not going to waste time with that. And trust me, if you end up getting 0 in the group project, you will fail this course. And you would have to repeat it. And guess what? I am one of 2 teachers that teach this course. A great likelihood you're going to come back to me. So there's not much running that can take place. So once again, in the thing, there are rubrics here to guide you as to what the what the expectations are, and of course the peer evaluation sheet is here. You can see it's 25 questions. You have to score people out of a 0 to 4, and that kind of what's the word I want to use? It determines what your percentage share of the thing would be if we get to that stage. But hopefully we don't have to use it. All right. Any questions? I know there's a lot. Any questions about this so far? No? No questions? All right. With that being said, we're going to go back to the e-classroom now. And we're going to go to participants. And we are going to set up groups. Oop, I have to clear some of these. These were previous groups. Edit group settings. Delete that. All right, so there is a I wanna crap. Hold on. Let me just oops. Delete this. I forgot. I have to save it here. All right. What? I don't know why this inherited the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Yeah. Okay, I know what to do. Delete. Yes. Delete. Unfortunately, I have to do this one at a time. Can I not do all? Yeah, let's try that. Delete. Yes. Okay then. Right, good. So there is an option here to auto-create groups. Would you all like me to do that, or would you all prefer to put yourselves into groups?
You can also create,
So
I guess.
autocorrect is fine, I guess.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Yeah.
absolutely random. Huh? So we want 5 groups because there are 26 of us. Let's see, name is group at. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Students randomly. All right, that'll make sense. Auto create based on number of groups. All right, so we need 5 groups. All right. Only active and ignore users in group random students. Okay, submit. Let's see what happens. Alrighty then. Group A. So try and get this in order. Group A is Hernandez, Hicks, Lawrence, Patterson, and I, I, I think it's Voto. All right. How can I get? All right. Can I? Everybody's seeing this. I'm trying to see if I could select. All right. Can I copy this, right? Control C. Control C. No, it won't. I was thinking a shortcut here. Um, all right, so Group A. All right, so up, yes, Karina. I guess your question is in the chat. So, oh no, it was a mistake. Okay, cool. All right. Can somebody just jot down in the chat because I can't close one and open the next kind of thing. Who are the members of Group A? Um, so that way everybody will know and they'll start messaging each other, that kind of stuff.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I could take a picture of all the groups and send it to the group chat.
Okay, so go ahead. So you have Group A.
Yes, I do.
All right. So Group B. Tell me when you get a.
1 second, sir.
You're doing snippets. You're doing screenshots.
No, with my phone.
Oh, okay. You know,
Okay.
there's an app called Snippet that would do this well. All right, but
Yes,
you
sir,
have
you
this
could
one.
move on. Yes, I
All
do.
right. Okay, Group C.
Yes, sir, you can move on.
Group D.
Yes, sir.
And Group E.
All right. Thank you.
Good. All right. So groups have been set. So what are your instructions for your groups? Well, the first thing is groups have to. Yes, Headley, hand up.
No, sir, that was just to ask
Put,
you.
oh, you. Oh, it's you who did the. All right.
Yes.
You see, the drawback when you're sharing screens, you can't really see what's happening on the chat page and stuff. It's a bit of a limitation. All right. So I guess you're going to be putting it into the chat, right?
Yes, sir.
The groups. All right. So what we need. All right. So this is what you all need to do. You all need to reach out to each other. I'm going to stop sharing so you all can relax a bit, and or you all want me to anyway. If it comes up on the WhatsApp chat, I'll just bring it up and reshare. So what's going to happen now is you all need to get together. Um, well, start to set up linkages where you all are going to chat with each other and be able to communicate with each other. And um, by next class, I want to have for each group at least 3 countries that you're interested in doing research about. All right? Now, there are things that you need to pay attention to when you're choosing these countries. That way, over the week, you all could do some basic research into the countries to see if they meet the following issues. 1, ease of access of information. 2, the veracity of the data that you're getting. And 3, understanding the data, because especially if the data or information that you're getting is in a foreign language, it can create problems. Although we have things like Google Translate and whatnot, it can still be a bit challenging. But if you all are up to the challenge, feel free. So the next class, which is not next week, but the week after. Well, actually, no. I'll need to at least see you all on the 17th because the 24th is a holiday. And I don't want to wait until the 1st of October to meet with you all. So by next week, I'll call a short session, or I will ask on WhatsApp for each team to let me know the 3 countries that they have selected and shortlisted. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, and I want you to get 3 countries, is because every group has to do a different country. But there's a great likelihood that people might think about having the same country. So I will try to mitigate against that and guide you into selecting a country that gives you gives you a degree of independence in terms of doing your examination. That makes sense. It sounds fair.
That's
Yeah.
So,
All right. So we have your groups, and it was automated. So if people want to trade, they have to find somebody with whom they could trade from one team to the next. Okay. If you're okay with who you are, just reach out, touch base, and like form a sub WhatsApp chat group with your group, and start meeting with each other and suggesting countries that you would like to research. So you could probably start from a suggestion per member and then whittle it down to 3. That way, when I get the 3, I can say, okay, you, I will give you advice based upon what I see happening. So I may very well call a short session next week. Next week, Wednesday, to just get some feedback from the groups about the choices that they've made and possibly tackle any questions people might have. So I don't necessarily need everybody to come, but at least a couple of representatives per group will be a good thing. All right? Okay. Anybody has any questions or concerns they want to bring up at this point in time? I know everything sounds like a lot of work. It is, but I've laid it out in a way that I'm hoping if you follow the sequence of events and you follow my recommended execution times for the various units and assignments, you'll find yourself managing well throughout the course. All right? Anybody has any questions, concerns, queries that they would like to make at this point? Don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. They're really important. All right, well, today is the first class. You all are getting accustomed to me and you're getting accustomed to each other. So I'll give you that. All right, I don't want to keep you all any longer. I don't have anything else to do with you. Have you been able to post the teams on the groups on the WhatsApp chat, Miss Headley?
Working on it, sir. Just give me 10 minutes after class finishes.
All right, okay, I'll look out for it. All right. All right, guys. So if nobody has any questions, and I don't have anything um, critical to say anymore, I'm going to turn off the recording. As I said before, the recording